Well, I'm at Upper Tawa Pond today, and it's right next to the road, so there's going to be a bit of road noise here. Haven't been here since trout season, so I don't know if there's any bass over here, but I'm sure that there is bound to be something to catch. I have caught bass here before, but it doesn't have any aeration. Looks like the water is a bit on the dingy side, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Just thought I would give a report from over here and try it out for myself, because it's always nice to try different ponds. Looks like the water has pulled down also. This area here wasn't here before. Let's see, what is that? That's a dead trout, and that's not so good, but that means that there have been trout here recently, because that would not have been here if that died some time ago. Anyhow, we'll see what happens. Starting off today with the Charlie Brewer slider, just because the water looks shallow. Of course, there's little bluegills, so that means that can support having bass in here. It's just a matter of, are there any bass in here? It just got a slash. That was close up, so that makes me think, could the bass be up close also? There was another hit. These could be just big bluegills though. There we go. Okay, well, that is the tiniest bass I've caught, but it's a bass. Oddly enough, this could be a fun pond to fish if you're fishing with these light lures. Haven't been here even 5 minutes. There's another. Oh, for a short fishing day, I think this is going to be a fun one. Hope I don't jinx myself with that, but 2 fish trying to slash at it, and then 1 already caught. And there's another one that hit it, but that one was a bluegill, I can tell. This seems to be the perfect one for this pond right now because of the size of the fish. But there, look at that. There's a whole bunch of these little bass. So that's what we're catching. And you can see he is tiny, but that's a little bass. I wonder if they stocked these recently. Bye-bye. Well, I did look up the stocking report last night, and I didn't see anything about stocked bass at this year. And forget that I'm fishing bass. They could be in this close shallow area, so I'll go back to this. Especially since my shadow is, oh, that was a fish that was just holding on to it. And you can tell he was holding on to it. My bait got pulled back. Fishing this other side of the pond, since it's further from the cars, I'll fish that side too, but starting over here just to minimize the noise. There. Well, there can be no doubt about them liking this Charlie Brewer slider. And look at that. He is tiny, but he's cool. Now I want to upgrade. On the next pass over here, I think I'll switch to one of the crankbaits. Try to get it a little further out. Oh, that was a better sized one. Not huge, but better than these guys. I want to say it might have been about 8 to 9 inches. And he took my tail. Switching to a different color just to see if it makes a difference. I figure darker color for the stained water and then the lighter colored tail so that they see it moving and having some action. I can see it from here. One of the reasons why I like having lures that have light colors. I'm taking about a slow to medium retrieve. Again, since I can see the tail, there's a fish that slashed at it again. Since I can do a slow to medium retrieve, I can see how fast I need to reel to make the tail move. I don't know if it's still here, but up on that ridge has been a bald eagle in the past. So I'm hoping that maybe we can see that one of these days that I'm here. And likewise, I'm hoping that it's also here to eat some of these dead fish. Reason why you don't see me reeling in my lure in my videos as much is because I am doing these slow, steady retrieves. And my videos are already long as they are. I don't want to make them any longer. But that's the fun part when you're making these videos for yourself. I'm just, again, recording this so that I know when and where I can fish throughout the season and how. This little cove is really shallow. I didn't set the hook. Doesn't matter, it's small. There he is. Oh no! He was a little bigger for this pond. A lot of fish hitting it. I don't want to set the hook unless I know that they have it, just because I know that the tail of this thing is so thin. That's what gives it the good action, but you could see how thin that is. All right, I had gotten snagged on the tree behind me and it broke off the tail of my lure, so I had to change that out. But also, whenever you get snagged on trees, anything that's rough, depending upon what kind of line you have, you should run your hand across the length of your rod, or the line, to see if it's been abraded. And in this case, it was. So I had to cut off my line. I'm fishing with 2-pound line, so if I'm able to catch a really nice fish, I don't want to lose that. I have switched to a different color. This one is this purple with pink tail. And personally, I don't like it as much. I just got it to see if it makes a difference. But I tend to like the light colored tails. One, so I can see it. Two, because the fish can see it. But this is kind of my test to see, is that just my superstitions, or does it actually work that way? Now, fish can sense the vibrations through their lateral lines and things like that. So it could also be that they don't spook from it. So they may have to sense the vibrations, come up to it, and then hit it. Again, I don't know if that's good or bad, but we'll see. If I don't catch anything with this, then we'll know that it's likely the tail. Here's some rocks. Didn't get a single hit on that. Before I move up, I'm going to change the tail. Could be the tail that they're swiping at, which is why I'm losing the tail a lot. But still, part of fishing is to get them to hit something. Guess my rod tip had moved when I was trying to get my line out of the tree. We've seen that large bass will go after this, or larger, based on my catch from Razor. Okay, so time to switch colors. All right, so we're gonna do the white with chartreuse. And let's see if going over the exact same spot gets a hit. And it hasn't. There we go. So, like I said, there had to be one in there. And chartreuse white is the color. Bye-bye. Grow up, get big. Casting far and letting it fall to the bottom. I gotta watch my line since we know that the lure has good tail action and body action as it falls. A lot of fish hitting it over here. I just don't want to set the hook unless I got a big one. That was a nicer size one. There were some little fish that were going after these dragonflies every time they would try to land on the water. And so I decided to cast here. They're definitely little because they're trying to hit my lure too. I can see it move and I can feel it. But that was interesting to actually see them attempt to get the dragonflies. There's another one that tried it. Well, I've got the Bitsy Pond minnow on. I'm hoping I don't get any snags and lose it. At least this one is a lure that I can replace. Trying to get it down to run past these rocks. A lot of action going on over here. I think I'll go check it out. Come from back here. Oh, there's fish on the surface. I think they are. I don't know if they're pushed up there. They're small. So I don't know if they're being eaten or if they're eating whatever kind of stuff is on there. That one over there, for example, you could just see it. It's right there, sitting at the top. Whoa, there he is. Little guy. Probably bigger than the last ones, though. Oh, couldn't get him. I'm just gonna try to work it right on the surface. There. Just as I start to cast once again, little fish. It's not what I'm after, but I guess that might be what these little pockets of, or splashes of water are. That one's the smallest. Let's see. Well, what's cool though is this is definitely an active pond. Oh, there is. Yeah, I think it's just a small school of small fish. There he is. I think I'm gonna go work this down this side way up high like what I've been doing. Oh, look at that again. Just as I set the, I set the hook. That was a better sized one, probably about 3-4 inches. Everything's all relative depending upon what the day's like. That's a big fish, but it really isn't. There we go. Look at that. I caught a bass on a hook with no lure. I guess it saw the gold and went after it. I've heard from my friends that they've caught fish before, not often, but I've heard of at least one story where he said that he caught a fish because his hook was dangling off the end of the boat, and he was thinking it was the movement of it going up and down. And of course, it makes sense because they go after gold spoons, things like that. So, but to get a little lure, a little hook, jig hook, that's not moving, that's kind of weird. There it is. So what I'm trying to do is work this about 2 to 3 inches under the water and hope that a big fish comes up. There's one, but that's outside of my range. All right, down to the wire as far as time, so I'm just going to do some quick casts and retrieves, straight retrieves with the Bitsy Pond minnow. And let's see what we do. That was a bass, nice sized bass. Came up to the top. Don't know what he's eating though. This will be the absolute wrong bait to use for a tenkara rod, or at least that's what the fly fisherman would tell me, but it's just a fishing rod to me. I'm going to put this earthworm to give it a lot more bulk, keep it higher up in the water column. See what happens. Wow, I'm gonna have to put a lot more leverage on there. There we go. Kind of what I was hoping, it would stay up very high. Such a fragile bait. We'll switch to the honeyworm. It's a little bigger. Actually, I'll do a double honeyworm. Well, if you decide to come to Upper Tawa, that road noise is what you can expect. So if you're looking for a nice quiet day fishing, this is not the place. If you can drown it out, listen to some music, something like that, then it could be a good place. That was nearby that fish, so maybe it comes to it. Doubt it. That fish is just really teasing me. Oh, he took it. Oh, it was that fish, but I saw him come up and hit it, and he just pulled it off the line, or the hook. So what will we try? Do we go back to the same one? I don't think so. I think we go back to the worm, since it knows that that's fake. Well, it may or may not. It may actually like it. I'm gonna have to change out my tippet after all that rubbing, but it's at least 4-pound test. What the? No, you're not the bigger one. Well, you're bigger, but you're not the guy that I've been seeing. Maybe you're just a little groupie following them. Okay. Okay, so, and there goes my bait again. This is the honeyworm, just a single piece, so I can kind of really slow jig it just subsurface. We'll make a few casts. Whatever's next as far as the catch, I'm going to have to go. Oh, it did that intentionally. That's too small. We're gonna go for one more. Oh. Wish the drop-off were better so that they don't land on the water, on the rocks. Hate seeing fish land on the rocks. Ugh. These little guys are so aggressive. I don't want the little guys. Just a short hit and I already got a fish. I think I got the attention of that big guy. There's so many little ones that the big one can't get to it. The big ones are always a lot slower. That looks like a trout. The big ones are always more precarious. They're cautious. They don't want to just commit really fast. If you're wondering why I'm using the tenkara, it's because it is able to cast extra light lures, which allows me to put the lightest jig and work this higher up on the water column. If I were throwing a trout magnet, I would have to be jigging it and it would be moving a lot faster. I think that this big guy wants something that's slow moving. Problem is, all the little guys like this thing. They're, oh, the bass went after the fish. It was a nice bass. It was a 2-pound bass. Just went after this little guy. I saved you. Oh my gosh. So, there is a big bass in here. So next time I can see focusing on bringing a little heavier tackle, catching and using spinner baits or something else, maybe even a worm. But there's a 2-pound bass in here. I just saw it, and I tend to be conservative on my sizing. That was not the fish that was going on the top. That was a lot thicker. This is a thicker stock of bass now. Wonder if that's why that big bass is with them. It's not huge, but when you're trying to compare and figure out where the fish are, for whatever reason, I've got bigger schools of bass in here now. There it is. Hope that large bass shows up on video. Bass are cannibals if they can't get the food that they need, so some of these guys are going to be eaten by that big one. Well, if you have the patience to weed through a bunch of small ones, or patience to try to catch a bigger bass, I actually recommend Upper Tawa. All right, so I'm late as it is. Let me take out this little dinky guy. There you go. You're like a minnow. Okay, we're gonna throw this one. That's a fish on there. Go ahead, throw it. I don't want to have to let you go. Gonna have to figure out how to deal with these rocks. Where this this drop off being so far out to reach. Fun day out for a short fishing trip. A lot of little fish out here if you want to catch little bass. Looks like there's some trout, but probably more dying. There's one that's been swimming belly up over here, but there is a big bass in here. It looks like it's at least a 2-pounder and a lot of little bass, so wouldn't surprise me if there's more than just that 1 2-pound bass. So think about that when you come over. I would say small spinner baits, worms, drop shot hooks, something like that. For you bait soakers, of course, you can use regular live worms and minnows. Anyhow, hope that this helps everyone. That is interesting. I can't tell what kind of fish those, birds those are. I think they're quail, and they're coming down to go drink in the water. How cute. Yeah, they are. Anyhow, with that, I'll leave you with these little quail at the shoreline, and hope everyone enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and if you have any comments or questions, leave that in the video also. Bye now.